My name is Dr Samat Maxutov. Welcome to my course Solving Olympiad Problems in Physics. This is a new course. Of course, we will not talk about only Olympiads. We will talk about how to solve complex, difficult questions, problems in physics. Usually students, people, when they see physics problems, they immediately try to remember some equations, which is okay, which is fine for simple questions, for simple problems. But when you face with a little bit difficult, complex physics problems, this kind of simple methods will not be helpful because it's a complex problem. You may need to combine more than 2-3 questions. Difficulty might be about mathematics. Difficulty might be because of combination of different physics concepts, yes, different chapters, let's say mechanics, thermodynamics, etc., optics maybe in one problem. So today we will give some advices how to solve this kind of difficult, complex problems in physics. We call it experts approach. Let's say experts approach. First of all, you should try to understand the first method. You should try to understand the problem, or we can say focus on the problem. What does mean focus on the problem? You should clearly image the problem. You should clearly you should clearly see the problem. As Einstein said that imagination is more important than knowledge. Yes, I totally agree with Einstein, because imagination is very important. So first of all, you should imagine. What does it mean imagine? It means visualize the situation. You should visualize. You should have some pictures, figures in your mind about the problem. Identify physics concepts. So what kind of physics concepts you need to solve this problem? It might be conservation of energy. It might be conservation of momentum, for example, equilibrium, statics, dynamics, kinematics, optics, thermodynamics, first law, etc. Yes, first of all, you should have some idea what is happening, what kind of physics concepts. Then, in your own word, precisely state the question. So, you should clearly understand the question, what you should find. It can be mass, it can be energy, it can be momentum. You should clearly state, you should clearly ask yourself the question. So the first one, focus on the problem. Try to image, sketch, draw in your mind the problem. Then try to understand the physics concept behind it. What kind of concept? So first one, focus on the problem. Second main step, describe the physics. What does it mean describe the physics? Draw any necessary diagrams. So in physics, drawing pictures, drawing figures is very important because this is a main step. When you imagine, you cannot keep in your mind all physics concepts. For example, there might be more than 10 forces in one problem. Yes, you can understand, you know that we have a friction force, tension force, weight, for example. But during the solving your problem, you may forget one of these forces. Yes, that's why drawing the diagram, figure, picture is very important. So in order to describe the physics problem, the second step, draw the diagram. Name and define consistent and unique symbols for any quantities. So, you know, we have as physics physical quantities. When you draw physics diagram for the problem, use symbols and draw all necessary physical quantities. Usually it can be forces, it can be velocity, it can be acceleration, and use symbols. Describe all physical quantities with symbols, and identify the target quantities that will be provided and answer the question. So again ask the question. So this was the second step, describing the problem. The third step, next step, plan a solution. So you have imagination, you know what kind of concept, and you have a diagram with all physical quantities. Now you are ready to solve the problem. But of course, first of all, you should plan the solution. Yes, how to plan, from which point you need to start. Of course, all physical concepts should be described in terms of mass, in terms of mathematical equations. Yes, you know, for example, conservation of energy, but you should be able to write this conservation of energy for this specific problem in terms of mass. Yes, for example, kinetic energy, mv squared over 2, maybe Newton's second law, you need to apply resultant force equal to ma. So this, if F equal to ma, this is a mathematical equation. So plan your solution. First of all, after defining physics concept, after drawing the diagram, now you need to plan your solution. First of all, of course, you need to write main equations, because you know what kind of physics concept you need to apply. Now it's your turn to write it in terms of mathematics, in terms of math language. Equations, write equations, main equations. By my personal advice, write all equations that you think will be useful for you. Yes, useful for you. Then you will select the ones that will be very helpful, very useful for you to solve the problem. Then, of course, you need to solve these multiple equations. You will find the final answer. And this final answer, you need to check it. It's a mathematical answer, yes? But in terms of physics, it may have wrong value. For example, time. Question was find time, and at the end you get negative value for time. So we know that in physics, negative value for time is wrong. It's impossible. That's why you need to go back and check your equations. And hope you will understand and you will find the mistake.